I've been involved in our organization in 7 years or something like that. I used to say 5, but somebody told me you have said 5 years now for many years. So I'm changing to 7 years, for a couple more years. And I started as a maker, like a blacksmith and an artist, sculptor and so on. And I started to rent a place in the workshop at Not Quite. I will show you everything very soon. And right now I find myself in this position as a cultural worker in some way, manager or director of this place. And I wonder sometimes how it happened. I think I talk all the time, I can't shut up, and so people say, okay, you do it. You do it. Okay, I will try. And so you can please follow me here. So, Not Quite, Artist Cooperative and Culture Center. Culture Center? Yes, I think we have become a culture center. This is where we are. Do you recognize this place? Sweden, west part of Sweden, close to Norway. 1,500 kilometers from here. We checked today. And as I said, our place is very, very different from Stanica, as we are outside of the bigger cities. Here we can see the bigger cities. We will have to run. Oslo, you know, capital of Norway. It's maybe the closest bigger city. Oslo here, Gothenburg here, and Stockholm over there. And most of the things, like the good art scene in Sweden takes place in Stockholm, of course. And then Gothenburg and Malmö, which is further south, is constantly chasing. Like, we want to be part of it. And most interesting things maybe happen in Gothenburg and Malmö. So, either you can say that we're lost in the forest, or that we are like in the middle of this triangle. Not so many pass by us. The west coast of Sweden, especially the northern parts, is very nice, like holiday place where a lot of people from Stockholm, they go there. So they pass us, like 2 kilometers above us. They go with their big cars back and forth to the summer houses. Again, a little bit closer, biggest lake of Sweden, Vänern, the red dot. And here we are, in the forest, with hundreds of lakes. What's the other? It's flashlight. Many lakes, and the nice forest is like touristic paradise. We have a lot of German tourists going for canoeing, or from Western Europe. A lot of people come here. And you may not have noticed that there is also a green dot over here, which we could say it's like the origin of Not Quite, of our association. Because in this small village, also in Dalslangen, I think we have 4,000 inhabitants. In our village here, there's 400 or 500. In this neighboring village, there is an art education, or arts and crafts education, that has been there since the 30s. And 12 years ago now, they achieved like, university status, they became higher education in different material-based arts, or whatever you would call them, material arts, we could say. So there is maybe 70 students there studying either textile costume design for theater, or textile arts, woodworking as furniture design and such, and as myself, there's an steel sculpture or public space sculpture education as well, where I went for 5 years. So, in this place, 10 years ago there were 10 students, and friends of students, that wanted, after graduation, to have a place where they could continue their work, a place where there was good workshops, cheap rent, a place that they could gather other interesting artists to have a creative environment, and to be able to live of their art, because as you know, we were talking to somebody, going to Bratislava, buying an apartment, and you have full-time, have to earn your money to pay all the costs. And they figured if we could find something here in the countryside of Sweden, which was at this time very depressed economically, we could live at a low cost and we could create something. There's a big space for us here. Okay, name of the education is Hårdkostynomi at Gothenburg University. There was a group of graduates. The advantages, of course, is if you are interested in some kind of material, especially iron, like blacksmithing or sculpture, there's a lot of equipment connected to this work. Of course, there's machines and stuff, so cheaper to share, and it's easier to build a workshop if you are many than alone. It's very obvious. And I wanted to tell you about the name, not quite. I don't know, somebody is working with marketing maybe once in a while. I heard that when choosing a name or when coming up with a name for your business, there's like a no-no when it comes to negatives, like not or no or something like that. I don't know if you recognize that. It shouldn't be something negative. Not quite, it's not so good. And maybe that's one of the things that has made it very unique. So I recognize, and people hear not quite and they remember, it's like, why is it called not quite? It makes you start to think about something. And there's different stories. If you ask, I was not one of the founders, but if you ask one of them, everybody has their own story. They didn't want to decide. I think it's not quite like a gathering. It's not quite like common workshops. It's not quite a museum. It's like something in between. So not quite great name for not closing doors. I think they were thinking in the start, like, okay, let's keep it open. And it has been a good thing. We always want the association to move in the direction where the members and the owners wants to go. But sometimes it's very frustrating not being able to say this is the direction we're going, because it's hard to say that. So somebody else will say, no, I don't want to go there. No. They were 10 people starting up. Now we are 45. Where I think 25 people are active, living in the village. But it's still quite a crowd to be. Consensus is sometimes hard. Okay, well, let's continue with the situation. It's here. This is our factory. So you can see there's no highways. We have the forests, of course. The factory was built in the late 1700s, like 1795 or something, for iron making. And in the 1800s it changed into paper mill, and was running until 76. And there was nothing here before the factory. So this whole village was built around the factory once. Most of it in the 40s, 50s. And there is some remains of the big factory area, like the football club is still nice, you can see. Very nice football fields, nobody's playing. There is the community house, sadly not very many people go there. It's like, there's the Scouts house, and there is local heritage foundation. There's lots of other associations having small, but I don't know, steady work going on in different ways. But we are now in this factory since the year 2002, so 10 years this year. And I just wanted to say that there's there's still the people in the village. They still have a strong relationship to these buildings, as it was for them the place where they earn their livelihood. So there is a strong connection to all these buildings from the community, and some has still not been down to the factory. It's like 200 meters down or 300 meters down. Some of the inhabitants they don't want to go there because they think it's a very strange feeling that somebody else has taken over the business. But most of our village friends, they think it's a really great thing that we're here. This very important place. This is like center of Fengfors. Grocery store where everybody meets Saturday morning and to buy milk. And this is they're not quite buildings that we rent. As you see, the factory is very big, several thousands of square meters everywhere here. And we're renting it, our parts, from a private owner who inherited it from her grandfather, who was patron, the big the owner and the boss. And when she's here, she lives here. And I think she is also one of the reasons that there's still this, what do you call it? There's a border between the village and the factory. She withholds it as well. She's like, oh, this is mine. This is no access to this place. She's very afraid that somebody would like go into her garden. We have a good relationship, but sometimes it's a little bit complicated. I think today here it's opera day. There's been an opera show in this house that we have some events in. The old parts here, you can see, I almost can't see, but the roofs have fallen down. When the first crew got there, it was in very bad conditions. I have just some images. This is still like this today and yesterday. Some of the parts of the factory are still very unused, and everything needs. It looks a little bit like the synagogue, but with lots of stuff in it. That's the synagogue looked like, I guess, when it came there. Yeah. And we kind of like these spaces as well. They're also beautiful spaces. So we often go like searching for history or stuff all around. The first paper machine is still inside, and it is now like protected heritage, industrial history, so it will be there. This is the backside of the factory. Now there's a new roof because it burnt down, and the insurance company apparently they realized that tearing it down would be more expensive than buying a new roof, so they put a new roof on it, which is very important, of course. It's like I show you these pictures to get some idea of how it looks and how it looked in some of the spaces that the first not quiters came to. They were 10 people with a lot of energy and a vision that they would create something on this place. So they had to work with these kind of places. There was some remains from an earlier project. There had been an EU project in some of the spaces before of ecological construction, building a construction, like non-toxic and ecological insulation. So these are some remains. Could be interesting for you. For us, this is like what we talk about all winter, heating system. So this is how it works now. Before there was in parallel this is just regular wood burning, and then pellets, compressed wood pellets in this one. But that became too expensive, so now we just do the firewood burning. And there was a very ambitious plan of how this would work. This is wood burning, pellets, compressed, and solar panels, of course, that would heat like this. It's very nice, but right now not really working. I think the EU money, they never came to the sun, what do you call it, the sun, solar panels, but one day, of course, we will have it. Okay, that's what was. So in the beginning, these 10 people, they started this brand, not quite, in this association, and they took a bank loan. Everybody took like 2,000 euros or something of bank loan to have as a security to be able to receive other funds from there were private funds from the bank where they took the loans, because if you're a member of this big bank in Sweden, you can also apply for cultural support. There was help from the unemployment office in Sweden, that instead of getting unemployment support, they could work and build structures and get the employment money. So these 10 people, they all bought a part of the association, so they were the owners in the start. And after a while they had created a structure that was working, workshops and such, people wanted to rent space. I wanted to rent a space in their association. So I could apply for a membership, but not ownership. Just being a member, like supportive member, paying my fees, paying a rent, and then being able to rent a space in their structure. But the thing that happened after a couple of years was that these 10 original owners, they were like burnt out, more or less. They had been working so much, so they were not so longer interested in collaborating. There had been some fights, somebody was supposed to run the economy but didn't do it very well, and this is very much situation, like conflict situation that can occur if you have to watch it, like don't work too much and take care of the economy. It's very important, it's a crucial thing. So now, okay, so these 10 people that were once the board and that should take decisions, they were not doing it, they were doing nothing. So we as like rental or members but not owners had to run the business for a couple of years. And it was not very efficient, and it is not legal in Sweden. We discovered, oh, so your board is not working, but this is not legal. You have to have a board that has yearly meetings and so on. So, well, complicated story. We changed it. So we opened up the association, just took some discussion to make it possible for everybody in the rental group, as me and other people, not owners, to become owners for quite a small fee. So now everybody that wants to rent a space at Not Quite and wants to be part of the organization applies for ownership and pays 350 euros for a part in the organization. So now we have 45 co-owners that own something together. It's also because we as members, non-owners, we were doing all the work. We were supporting, like we were baking or selling things in the cafe, we were cleaning, we were doing everything for the events and so on. And we were building the place and the brand, and it was becoming a brand of some importance. Anyway, you can ask me about structure, quite things afterwards maybe, but it felt very good to be to have some credit for all the work that we had done before, like building up something, and then we could become owners of it. So, well, the difference between our center and other centers in this Trans-Europal network, I think this is one of the bigger ones, that we are all owners of our center. Well, in ownership, you're expected to do quite a lot of unpaid work, you should enter into a work group. So you're interested in exhibitions, very good. You can go into our exhibition group, and you take care of the programming, of the galleries, of artist talks, of projects. That's one group that works with that without getting paid. The events and concerts is also unpaid positions. We only have a few paid staff, and how many I will tell you later. So a lot of unpaid work. Now we will get into 120 pictures of not quite. You remember the photo? This is like very from Google Maps, also very basic. These buildings are ours, or ours. We rent, and a small piece of this. Okay. So when you come to the factory, this is like regular day a couple of years ago in the fall. You can buy ice cream here, and there's somebody working in the factory. And this is a couple of days old, like before I left I just took these pictures because I wanted to have a very, like, now feeling. German, there was a Hungarian car here, Italian, German, Belgic. So this summer has been crazy, like the parking lot has been full all the time. We also share the space with other companies, so there's always something going on here. Either it's the fish farm, fish producing farm, who empties their fish into a truck, or there's somebody making construction somewhere. We will have a look into our office gallery space. Slowly we're changing also, like putting some plants, making it look nice. This was the old library, and this building continues to the left. You can see now old garages and stuff. We'll go inside of this door over here. Our shop. So when I came to not quite 7 years ago, there was, I think, 5,000 visitors each year. And one of the original ideas of Not Quite was to have workshops, and as I told you, but also to have a space, a showroom, a space where you could show your work, and a place where you could host people, like visitors and so on. And the shop has been developing or moving or like changing all the time. Now I guess we have a lot of stuff that you can buy, like put in your car and go home, like this kind of very good merchandise. Get some money. This is some old stuff I made, and it's members of Not Quite that could sell their own production here, or you could, as a designer or a craftsman or photographer, you could apply for a selling space and you will sell. And we take a small commission, and then Mia here, she makes, what does she make? Textiles. So she's now doing her 1 or 2 days behind the cellar. A small gallery, very Spartanesque exhibition this time. It's not always like this. Our office, maybe you could recognize. Meeting, what to do. We are 3 people working here. Malin, the economist, with all her economy, she's one of the most valuable people of our staff. She's a painter, a very good painter, and half-time economist, like really economist from university. It's like, oh, great. So she's very good with like this creative kind of bookkeeping. These spaces that I showed you now, they are open all year round. Like Monday to Friday, 12 to 6 o'clock. Because we noticed that we don't have so many customers during winter time, but still it's very important to have this, the feeling that it is open. When you come to us, you should always be possible to see something. Well, we're now going into. I didn't show you. Here there is the old factory fence with barbed wire and everything, and now we're inside of the mill. This is what I saw when I was walking out, like tourist with. We noticed that signposts, like showing people where to go, is important. We big discussion with 45 people. What should be on the signs? So 3 years later, now here are the signs. And but we wanted to make something else, like more that you would feel that this is where you should go. Maybe some marketing could help us with this. You can tell me later. One of our houses. This is the woodworking shop. We had woodworking workshop in this whole building, and 2 people were using it, like 300 square meters for 2 people, and our costs are so high for renting the spaces, so we can't have 2 people for 300 square meters. It's impossible. So what we did is that we started to for construction we started to share the space. This is almost finished. So now this is the woodworking workshop, and in here you have a photographer and a textile artist and frame maker and a writer now. Because we told this to carpenters, but you can't have all this space for so little money, so we have to share it with somebody. And I think it was a great thing. We saved some money in rents, and they experienced, of course, a much nicer environment because people were working there. It's very important that you can feel. If you're that kind of person that likes things going on around you, it's important that somebody is there when you come. You don't have to be alone in the workshop. Here we have insulation on in the ceiling, wood fiber, thermocell, like this, now, this year. The walls we filled also with this wood fiber insulation. One thing, we wanted to move, we told this furniture maker, could you move out in this space? Because, and it was a floor like this, a concrete floor. No, it's concrete floor, I can't work there if I drop my tools. But maybe we can put wood floor. So it ended up with me and another friend from the metal workshop, just putting the floor, and then we just moved him, and he's happy now. But also, sometimes in collective, you have to make groups. Woodworking workshop. Our machines are like from the 50s, around 50s, 60s, and a little bit newer. No CNC cutters and such. We're using often you can see reusing old doors and windows. A lot of people in our collective and cooperative, they are have this education in how things should be made. Like furniture maker, you can ask. I can ask her. In this case, her. Could you help us putting in a door? Yes, I will do it. Like measuring, everything is so perfect that it takes 3 months to put the door in, because she doesn't have time to be that nice. It's not needed. You could just throw in anything and it will be fine. But this is a little bit struggle we have, like getting it done or getting it perfect. In the end, it's still like this. There's no window. This is what you come to. Photo studio. This is Kaisa's, some of Kaisa's work, but you can see it. Okay, cafe. Cafe. So, this is the backside of the blacksmith, metal and ceramics. This I like very much, because because this was the old wood workshop from the factory times, and this was where they kept all the dust and such. It's very nice. You can make a house. You live there. So let's go into the cafe. We have Sandra, who's behind the bar. She started a bakery on the factory site instead of working in our cafe. She started this. She really developed our cafe. Before there was artists working in the cafe. I could show a picture. Usually I show the picture with there's a photographer behind the bar. In the kitchen you could see like a costume designer, photographer, making sandwiches, making coffee and so on. But in the end we realized this is not what we want to do. We want to make what we are good at. We're not so good at making cakes maybe. So Sandra, she had been running a cafe for a couple of years in Gothenburg, ecological, and she had a child and she wanted to move back to where she came from because she had now seen that something is going on in my old hometown, and she wanted to be outside of the big cities with her child. So she came and she really put us on the map, like with the food as well, and because I think, well, I know that more people know about the cakes and the food than not quite than the art is made there. That's for sure. But it's a very important part of our work now to have this meeting place for us and for people from the outside and artists and yeah, all kinds of meetings. So now it's time to. We were talking a lot about how we could develop this cafe space. How could maybe we could build something. We were discussing a lot of different things, and as we're not owner of the buildings, and as I told some of you, we don't have a contract, a rental contract. We just have a oral agreement, or just can we rent this space? Okay. So we're now when we want to develop something like this, we have to of course ask the owner, and she was not so interested at first, but then one Christmas market, we had a big Christmas market, she had to stand in line to wait for her coffee. And she thought, I have to do something about the kitchen, it's too small. So now she asked an architect that works at the factory, and he came up with this suggestion. And we couldn't say so much about it, so we just say, okay, let's see, start building it. And so this is the original building, and we needed a bigger kitchen for reglement. You know, you have to have one part of the kitchen for potatoes and another part for and dishwasher and so on. And that's here, and here is also WVC for handicap. And then supposed to be a bigger space here, like a glass house of some kind. So they started, and this is where we are now. And originally, you know, they should have made it until before our high season, which is in the summer, and it's just finished like 3 weeks ago. And the rest of the building, I don't know, maybe not. We will see if it will ever be continued in this glass building. But still, it's a better environment for working. But I don't know, the outside. It's not a very nice photo because it's raining, and it looks a little bit better than this. But it's, you know. What could you do with this environment? She was very worried about the original environment of the factory. How could you fit something in? Well, maybe it's not fitting in, but it has some kind of honesty on it. This odd placement of windows is because this should be doors later on for passing into the next building. Well, one problem that you never think about before, apparently, is what to do with all the trash. Now we just build something. Well, just a small. They say this is the outside and the toilet. They saved it just by changing. Before there was this door is new and you can go out in this little new building. I think we added, what's that, 6 square meters to the space. But it's such a big difference in how it's used. It's very interesting how oh, okay. The light that comes in. We have a small park outside. We're going to now the workshops here. Something is being built outside. I'm getting something. This is summer, not quite, when there's visiting artists from somewhere. The smithy is always full with material, as you see outside. Some people are not so happy about this, and we're always now we're experimenting with this kind of wood burning stove, rocket stove. Very interesting. It didn't work so well. I'm adding a little bit of air. This is the smithy. How big is this? Maybe this is 250 square meters, I think. The old mechanical workshop of the factory. It was in use when we came here. There was already somebody working in it as a smithy in this corner over here, and he's still there. But the rest of the space, we are 5 people that share and look after. We have another. This is another part of it where it's warm in the winter. This part is not. It's not realistic to heat it ever. I think. You know, you could make something, but it would be so expensive. So we're just okay. We will not rent it. You have to work. You have to move around. But this last winter it was not this winter maybe, but last winter we had like -10 or inside, and but then you stay by the computer. Sometimes I have this is Rasmus is happy. He's learning how to weld. I have to teach. We have different kind of workshops in this place. Ceramic workshops. This is studio spaces on the 2nd floor from you can see here, up here, there's an attic. And behind here, I showed you before, was the wood burning furnace. So this space is always warm in the winter. So we're thinking about, now we have just one small space upstairs, but making a full floor of studios because going inside of these spaces where we have like exhibition spaces, often different installations, and where we have kept we put in a new floor. It was a very big job actually, but and then they left the walls and the windows as they were. It's kind of nice. It has this Mediterranean feeling of this place. It's important in some way to keep some of the old structure. And then this is another place where we had like an experiment in some way. We thought that studios would be the thing, so we made all these booths like to rent studios in the factory. And this is a ceramist who has one of these small, it's like 60 square meters studio, and there was a big discussion with the rents, why is it so expensive in some parts of the factory, and how can we be? So I think one day the board was very bored dealing with this question of rents. And okay, same for everybody, and big mistake. So now they are paying the same rent as in maybe a cool or not in another easily heated space of the factory. And these spaces are very hard to heat, and it's like catastrophic economic calculation of rent in and electricity bills going out. So the other ones are behind these doors and used only in summertime, and sometimes a lot of storing places. We thought we were making 9 or 10, but we made 3, and we're not making any more. Instead, this space is used for installations. So, yeah, you can see. This is the original art exhibition space that we have, with the old factory paper machine. And there was another paper machine in parallel of the old one. You can see the old one is behind here. Now here is an installation that's still up. Where the gravels is, there was another machine that was sold to Pakistan. And this place looked like a mess, so they put also a lot of scrap in this big hole and covered it with gravels. So now it's quite nice in there. And this space is a very, like, it's a hard space to work in some way. Some people, some artists come with an exhibition that has been somewhere else, and they try to just put it in the space, and it's quite hard because there's so much stuff everywhere. This is always here, these things, and the stairs, and the pipes, and of course. So the best result is often when you can make something in the space. This is the installation here is of objects that were found in the factory with some additions. The wheels on the wall. This is some kind of interactive sound machine. This paper was made in the factory once, in big sheets of paper that we just hang, describing some kind of shape. There is also one important building for us, but that we don't rent, is the old office of the factory. And right now it's an architect who rents the whole space, and he in his turn rents out rooms for people who need offices. Like I have an office here with my colleague, and we use some for artists in residence who comes, error office right now, and we realized that there is already offices that with heat, with nice, they're just ready for somebody to move in, and we don't have to do a big effort to heat them or something. So we wanted to take over this contract, to rent it from the owner ourselves, but she doesn't let us rent it right now, so we're waiting her out right now. And well, we made a textile workshop in the basement. Here, this is like the most recent change in the spaces. Then we had this agreement with the owner that we would apply for money from governmental support from the Arts Council. Yes, Arts Council. Or Regional Arts Council, maybe. Of financing a textile workshop, because we needed a textile workshop. And they also always ask for a co-finance, of course. And then the owner could be the co-financer. She would put up 20,000 euro, I think. And because we had that, we could ask for 20,000 more from the region. And then it was like kind of a win-win situation in some ways. We get a good space for working, the owner gets her space cleaned up, we do also additional volunteer work in here to make it look nice, to paint the walls and so on. So she's happy, we have the space we need. It was quite a good agreement. But afterwards, it's not ours anymore, it's hers. So it's always a little bit hard to know what to do in these situations, but there was still a need for textile workshops, so we need to do it. It's quite like rough, but textile work is quite messy. I have seen better. Sometimes, like this, you don't know what kind of material is in the floor or in the walls, and this washing machine just jumped off its feet, like jumping down on the floor. So now the other week we made this very strong to keep it in place. It's crazy. You have sometimes you just have to do something. It doesn't have to look so nice. Wet areas, workshop area. It's used sometimes. Now I told you that there is a fish farm in the neighboring. Behind these walls, there's a fish farm, and through those doors, there's this infamous door where a lot of fish smell comes out in our spaces, which is sometimes a problem. They have the water cleaning facility in here, and if you do a left here, you come to this space where we have painted and tidied up one of the factory spaces to have like events of different kinds. It's concert. This time it's literature festival dinner takes place. Otherwise, it's Christmas market, it's opera, or it's music or dance or theater or something. Of this kind of performative things. That are the spaces. I think you were asking for some investment in money. Investment, how much money we have invested. I don't think it's not very much in money, but we have put a lot, very many hours of work of our own. Maybe like 100 and 150,000 euros of cash, and then a lot of work. We have not counted the hours. So, are you getting tired? You want to see what we do in the center? Or? It's very hot in here.
I can put this.
Yeah, put this on. So, I've been talking a lot about the space, and we realized, as I said, when I came there was 5,000 visitors. Next year 6,000. Next year 8, and then 12, and 16. Now last year was 20. Next year, this year I think we will have more, maybe 22 to 25,000 visitors. This in a period of 4 months, maybe. And this taking care of the visitor, we were quite surprised that so many people would like to come see what we were doing. So it has been a struggle just keeping the place accessible for people, like preparing or cleaning or getting people to work in the cafe and so on. So we have taken some steps in trying to professionalize, or whatever you would say, to employ people in different ways. Really try to, if you want to work in the cafe, you will get paid. You want to make a guided tour for somebody, you will have some money for this. Because when you are 44, 45 people co-owning, some people are very interested in working with the public, and some they will not be. Some just want to rent the space, they will pay their rent, and they don't want to do anything else. So after a while, when everybody had been, or half of the people maybe had been working voluntarily for weeks and months, we were like, oh, maybe some things has to be paid jobs. To be able to go back to the reason why Not Quite was created, to the artistic work and to the creative space. So, I will show you some different things, what we do. I will start with some of my own pictures that you have seen, maybe. I make like iron, a lot of things in metal, usually metal, and sometimes combining with my own body in different ways. This I was collecting things from the forest, like pine needles and ants. Here is in the garden of, not quite, the cave for cavemen. Sometimes I do, and we at Not Quite we make things. This is like wine cellar. Somebody says, I want wine cellar, and this could pay the rent for 5 months. Perfect. This is the local choir makes an opera every year or every 2 years, and we have now started to collaborate with them, making costume and set design, and they perform at our space, and we have like 500 people coming to see it. A lot of the artists at Not Quite are interested in, of course, working with the actual factory and the spaces that are everywhere, making installation of different kinds. This is another installation of where one of the more famous artists in Sweden came to make his interpretation of one of the spaces. It's like a pond with 80 cubic meters of water. It makes a reflection like this. We have 3 bigger exhibitions in this exhibition space each year, and 7 or 8 in our small gallery. Most of us have some kind of background in traditional crafts or material-based arts. This is Slöjd Kollektivet, a collective of very traditional crafters that use their craft to create something like a message about sustainability in this case. We make events for the municipality that support us a little bit. So, Festival of Fire Sculpture, very popular now in Sweden. We make attempts to integrate in our local area in different ways. Right now these last years I have been wanting to invite people from different artistic practices like performance or sculpture or different kinds of painters to work with the situation in Fängefors, that we are art collective and we are in this village, but we are also something else. We are looked upon as a strange crowd of something. Well, some experiments are more successful than others. This was both. Going to the beach, Sunday, very warm day, and making different actions on the beach. I had my bathtub, inviting people, very popular bathtub at the lake, and like half-half. Half of the people think it was a great, fun idea. Some were screaming at us, but it brought a discussion about why are we in this village. And it was good for us to know a little bit how to understand the situation in our place. It was this French girl was standing on the water. She came for a 1-month residence. I invited Tom Rosati the year after, an American artist who works with sports and arts a lot. Because I had this feeling that sports is very important in our village, so he could make something with interaction. We started to put out these buoys in the water, just to see what happened. And after a couple of days, of course, the kids had taken care of them in different ways. And they were doing, first they were just pushing them around, then they were on top of them, throwing mud, and after a while they were like taking them up. They were inventing lots of things with these objects just placed in their natural habitat or whatever. He also came up with this idea. He has this ongoing project called Megasoccer, where he works with soccer, football, in different environments. So at our place, you already saw the picture. Tom is with the hat, American hat there. It was forest soccer. So we are in the forest. We like soccer, so we made these nice costumes. 3 balls. The silver ball was worth 2 points. The white one 1 point. And then you could only walk. And very dangerous game. This University of Dalslanget, they heard about it, so they wanted us to come and propose this as a starting up assignment for the students that were starting their year. So we came to the neighboring village, and there was a forest soccer field in the village. In the forest, 40 years before, there had been a soccer field, like with goals, everything flat. And then the factory closed down, and this team disappeared. So this is the soccer field, but now there's like 30-year-old trees all over. It's amazing. As you can see, it's totally flat, but with trees. 50 people, 11 balls. We had some damage, taking balls in the air. Not so good. I think this was a successful project in the way that we show that we do this also because we like it, showing people of the village that art doesn't have to be so hard. One of our studios, 13 Estonian performance artists working with another space of the factory. There's a lot of spaces that are not used of different reasons, but they're interested in these artistic performances or so on. We work a lot with kids. Some artists come and they propose workshop for kids. We work with the local schools a lot to have a couple of weeks of artistic work with these are 12-year-olds maybe that made big installation in our space talking about art. We have in Sweden we have this political decision that there should be art classes in school by artists, and we were very early in our province, so we pretty much run this art in the schools in our municipality. Charlie Devier, French artist, he came with a picture of a French pony, and he wanted to show this pony to a Swedish pony. So here they meet for the first time, and this was such a great evening because we didn't think that something, the whole horse owners you can do it. I don't think something will happen, but it did. They were communicating, really. They were really doing it. So this common experience of something very strange, it was very good. Well, community building. Oh, now I've been working with these graphs now. Okay. Yes. My vision for these last years has been bringing back the joy to the factory with these artists coming. Like not thinking so much about how we have to fix the roof, we have to make the floor, but to get back to the nice, fun, creative work. And it has given some results. Now people are interested in coming. We have been focusing a lot in how shall we get new tenants to pay rent and to keep the work going at the factory. I'm always thinking not to focus so much on why is nobody, we have to get people. It's been bad, we have to focus on what are we doing. If we do something we like, other people will like it and they will come. I think this is it's very easy. Okay, income. 42%. cafe, but it's very expensive running a cafe in Sweden if you want to pay salaries. So I think most of it goes out together in salaries. Support, it's 1/3 right now. It's I will show you a little bit the next slide. What's this? Rents mostly from us members. We pay a rent to our center, so it's quite a big part. Provision on sales in the shop. We keep 30%. Yes. So the shop is not very successful yet. Other sales. Oh, I remember. I knew what this was. It could be workshops. It's also, we have this system that if you're a member of Not Quite and a customer asks you, can you make me a balcony? Yes, I can make a balcony, but I don't have my own company. So Not Quite can bill the customer and then pay salary to the maker. So we are like self-employment platform, we call it. So if you want to work but you don't have a company, it's no problem. We pay the taxes and we take 10%. So this quite big part can be these kind of jobs that Kaisa has made set design. So we've been building for this, and it shows up as an income, but it's also an expense in salaries in next. Okay, support. Very pedagogical. No? We didn't talk about turnover. 2,600,000 Swedish crowns. 310,000 euros of Not Quite as an association. But then the members of Not Quite that are active in our workshops, they are not represented in this because they all have their own companies. I am an owner, but I also employ myself in my own company. So if you collect all this economy, it's much bigger. And this is only for the actual association. We should have a number on that. So, what's this? Yeah, this is the total amount of support every year, and you can see here. Our municipality, they are of course very happy, and we're always the big, nice example of success. But show us the money if you can. It's a very poor region in Sweden. It's compared to the bigger regions or municipalities. The population is growing older. All the factories have gone abroad to Asia or to Baltic states. We are the only village or town or anything in the province that are actually growing. What's this? Other supports I think could be private, like this bank. Sometimes we apply for money from the foundation of the bank and they can support culture. So the year before it was nothing. This is last year, it was 25%. The 71% is it's like 10,000 euros for 12,000 euros for exhibitions and such from the state. It's regional. It's not called a support. It's called that we do something for the countryside with arts. So they pay us for it. It's 40 or 45,000 euros each year. Each year, and we have it for 3 years. And all that is for salaries for direction and economy. Costs. You can see here now. Income. Cost. Merit. We have plus this year. Okay, I know this year was 5,000 crowns. That's like 500 euros or something. But last year it was 100,000 crowns, so 10,000 euros. It's like, depends. She's creative. Good. So salaries, 48%, and it's twice because the materials is also food to buy. Rents that we pay to the owner. Others is also sometimes connected to the cafe, like you have to have an inspector come to give you the to be able to sell alcohol. You have lots of small costs or big costs that add up to a lot. And I asked our economists for years, could you please visualize our economy? Because I think we can learn something if we can see this. We don't have time. And I did this yesterday at the hotel, and like, oh shit, this is not good. Okay, the staff with the salaries, 50% economists, 50% direction. I am employed 1 day a week for direction right now. 250% like staff, 2.5 full time in the cafe in summertime. And in our shop we have, I think it should be 180% from the unemployment office. So in Sweden, if you're unemployed for a long time, you go to the unemployment office, you have to do some, you have to educate yourself, okay, that doesn't work. After a while, you are considered like phase 3, and then you're lost somewhere. But we have now 4 people. In the shop there's 3 people. Paid partly by the municipality, partly by the unemployment office for like training, job training. So they're job training at our center. And with that we could have better opening hours. So, but it also takes a lot of time. I don't know if you have the same similar system here, but it's usually people that are not so, they have very low energy, and they need help, they need different kinds of, I think they need, they have a lot of needs, and we don't have so much time. 50%. We don't have so much time to help them with all their needs, so it's very good and it's quite heavy sometimes. Okay, other companies on site. Fish farm, I told you, architect, factory owner, who rents a space, window renovator. And then we came, and now there's also 3 furniture makers, there's a showroom and gallery, and that we don't own, there's a bakery, and there's a fashion company who makes clothes. Showroom, bakery. This is the old fire station. So, and then I make this, somebody make that, so very locally produced. Impact on the local society. We're now 70 people that have moved in because of not quite big stake of 70, and in a village with 400 people, it's a lot. Companies is establishing at the mill because there's a lot of people moving, of course, and in the village. This very important store is the last little food store in this part of Sweden. Here in Slovakia I've seen there's many, but in Sweden it's not possible, it's too expensive, so this is a very rare site. The owner, she's very happy. Ika, it's the name of the shop. This year we have had an American artist who made this community project where people would talk about their favorites. So, community building, bringing people, bringing economy, and so on. And this summer we've been in Swedish national radio, in one of the papers, like business papers. Sweden, as you have also noticed, culture is now what will be the next big economy. We will see. We've seen our paychecks yet, but of course, this there's a big discussion now, and we are, we're starting to think: could we reinvent this countryside with culture in some way? I don't know. We will see. Visit our website. It's also something that we have not got time for it. So if you have seen, oh shit, it's very bad. The blog is better, but it's not. It's okay. We're always struggling with. We have 5 photographers, but we don't have documentation. What? No, but you know, like archiving. There's no archive, and it's it will be one of the bigger tasks now. I'm sorry, I've been talking too long, but you can ask questions if you want. I have plans also. You can look later.
Do you know about St. Gallen in Swiss?
St. Gallen.
St. Gallen. It's almost something similar. Maybe you want to be.
Yes. I could do something. Mm-hmm.
And Essen also.
Mm-hmm.
But there is no Bosch.
Okay.
In St. Gallen, maybe it's close to yours. And
It's in Sweden. It's quite rare with this kind of abandoned places. So yeah, it's different from a lot of spaces in Sweden too.
Yeah, maybe it's unique in Sweden, but
Yeah,
around the world.
there's many. Yes, I know. Oh, it's not unique in Sweden. There's a couple also.
I'd like to ask what the locals think of you, or if it was changing, or if they were scared or
Yes, it is changing. It is now. It's much better. My idea with this artists in residency, I've been working with that for a couple of years. Starting that project was to bring artistic practice of different kinds to the artists, but also to have this artists coming working with the surrounding and with the associations or with the village as a whole more. Because I've been trying to look at earlier ideas of this community work in the history of Not Quite, and I think they didn't work so much with this local situation in the beginning. I think that was a mistake also. I think I could have, because when I look around now in this other association, there's so much people, they have so much stuff, they have so much knowledge, they could be so much productive to work together. And so taking these steps, people are now much more open, and they come now to the cafe, and they think they really enjoy this, that we are there. We started with the forest soccer, and the only collaboration was that they gave us 3 balls. Yeah, you can have these, bring them back. And we came back and we told them about the event. 2 people came to watch. And then we came back and they was like, yeah, I know, next time, they say, we should build a hot air balloon. Like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And I plan to do it this summer. Maybe we will have time in August. It's like amazing that you never know what would be the next step of a collaboration. I wouldn't have expected that somebody would suggest to build a hot air balloon. But that's really that made me want to work more with it as well.
But it's not a risk to don't have a contract.
Yes.
You create history. And if the real owner suddenly will sell?
Yeah, or die. She's old, yes. Yes, and her son is much more economically interested. But yes, and we have been developing this space. So I have my task.
Yeah, it's history what you create also.
Yeah, yes.
And this means value.
And this is the very hard part, because I have now been given the task to negotiate a contract, and I share idea that we have created a value, and this maybe this should be compensated in the discussions of rent, or where should we start our rent discussion? 10 years ago, but it's too late. Now, it's now, and she doesn't even remember. You know, I showed you some pictures. We have put thermal cell insulation here, and she tells me, because I'm newer, she says, I made this. Yeah. And I know, I ask some of my friends, no, we made this. Okay, so you have to, yeah. I like this idea better, 30-year contract, and then we will see.
Yeah, the motive could be that you want to invest more.
Yes, of course, and then that is now the possibility we're negotiating with some kind of what do you say, sponsorship of energy, but they need contract, because without a contract they won't sponsor, and maybe this could be also the argument.
Yeah, and for heating, I know a new system based on nanotechnology. These infrared panels, which are not consuming so much, and they give
in the series. Yes, they're building those. They're building those in the city nearby. So we're thinking about this. But things we have done also is like there's so many thousands of square meters, and it's also like, oh, it's so nice, this space. But the latest changes we have done with our space is to stop renting some, or moving out from some parts, and concentrating more, especially during winter, because there's lots of space, but we have to realize that we don't have use for all of it.
I was thinking that without you, the community maybe will die. So, in a way, you can go in other directions too, not only in culture, but could be,
social,
I don't know, like
social funds.
Yes. Resort for old people or young people.
Yes.
During the summertime.
Yeah. We didn't talk about. We have. I think most of our visitors. You saw some of them are born in the 40s. I think 55 to 65, coming with their car for summer for visiting, and then we have. Sometimes that's. You feel like we are working in the workshops, making something, and a lot of grey-haired people are just walking around and so creating something for younger people would be very interesting. I think also for the development of the municipality also important.
Anyway, it's interesting.
I'm interested to know how it works the gallery space.
Oh, hi.
How it works.
How it works?
With the artists and with the sales, and like if you work like a private gallery or just the people who are into the organization and have exhibitions.
No, we can. Anybody could apply. Right now, there's this working group of people in the association that are interested in working with the programming. So they have some contacts, friends, and people that they know of that they exhibit, and there is also a lot of applications for that people that want to exhibit at artists. We have, during the last years, there has been very few people from the organization exhibiting, but so most people from the outside come. You have a small fee, like you are paid 500 euros or something for an exhibition, and then if you sell something, we take 30%, I think, or something like that. But I would like the exhibitions to be more of an active group. Now it's unpaid and very little time people can put into this right now. So I would like to remake that, to make it more involving for all the members, for the interest of the members. But maybe working with some curator or somehow.
I would like to suggest the last question, and we can go, well, there will be then the dinner, and we can talk with the beer and more relaxed. So, somebody have the last question?
How many members your association has?
45. 45 now.
And they are there daily?
No. Some of the members are members because they sell in our shop, and they come sometimes to use the big ceramic furnace, or they have one painter, she comes for the summer for her studio. So I would say 25 are active around, not quite, and maybe 15 are there every day. I think 15 people earn all their money from their work ends, not quite, or in the workshops, something like that. It's very different.
Hey, could you tell us a little bit more about taking decisions?
Yes. Very hard part. So we had this. We had a board that didn't work. So we were thinking, how could we make this board work more attractive in some way? So right now we are trying with 7 people of the board. 7. 3 of them are people from the outside. It's the headmaster of the university education in the next village. It's not the present, but the old municipality. What do you call it? The mayor, the old mayor of the municipality. And third one, it's a cultural worker from an education in Gothenburg, and he's very theoretical in culture and economy, and then the other 4 are members from the association. So to have a good discussion, to have some voices from the outside, it's very good. Sometimes like focus, maybe this is not so important. And then, so we made this change that 4 people from the association are members of the board, and then other people were very afraid in the association. Like, can I not decide now? Am I no longer decisive? And then you have to engage. If you want to change something, you have to speak up, you have to talk to somebody, or you have to present yourself at the yearly meeting. I want to be part of the board. And the people of the board, their responsibility is, of course, to listen to the association and to be aware of what is going on. And this is better because before everybody was okay, but we will fix it later. Now it's like, if you want to decide, you have to tell me about it. Otherwise, we will not be able to do something. I think it's different phases of a collective. In the beginning, everybody was like happy and we will do this together, and then it starts to get complicated. You need to divide maybe into groups, and then after a while you need direction. Some people who has an idea of maybe this is a good decision in the way we want to work. Maybe this is not. We want to work with sustainability and developing the arts and crafts and so on. I don't know. Okay? Thank you. Thank you.